My goal is to make you, by the end of this, part of my Twitter army. Okay? There's a select group of us that have been tweeting the conference, and we really miss all of you. We've been having our own sub-conference on Twitter. So hopefully by the end of this, we'll have an army on Twitter. Remember how they said the loud voice, the collective voice? Well, the collective voice of all of us on Twitter would be fabulous. So let's talk for a second. So my name is Melissa Hogan, and I want to give you just a background on our diagnosis story so you have a context for some of the examples that I'm going to talk about, and maybe that will help you figure out what you can do in social media. So I'm talking about social media, rare disease, and patient advocacy, and how that all can work together for you. So 10 years ago, I was a lawyer in private practice, rocking along. Then I had 3 boys in 3 years, so that changed that a little bit. And then I moved on to be a management consultant with a global firm. And I say that to you just to say that neither one of those had anything to do with social media. So it was not my profession. It's not my job. But you and all of us can become experts in social media for the purpose of rare disease awareness, advocacy, and fundraising and research. So our story, I was, like I said, rocking along until our 3rd son was diagnosed with rare disease because my mom saw an episode of Mystery Diagnosis about a boy with the rare disease Hunter syndrome or mucopolysaccharidosis 2. And Hunter syndrome is a lysosomal storage disorder, and it normally causes progressive physical, cognitive, and behavioral decline with an average lifespan of about 12 to 15 years old. So that kind of sets your world apart, and I know a lot of you have had that kind of experience. So we were lucky that she saw that, and social media was not an immediate thought in my mind, but we did get on things like forums and Caring Bridge. So, you dip your toe in the water of what is considered social media at the time. But as you all know, a rare disease diagnosis then brings tests and doctor's appointments and therapies and IEP meetings. And so you get kind of overwhelmed with that kind of stuff at the beginning. But eventually, I had the idea that social media was really important. And here is why that became important for me. At the beginning, when my son was diagnosed, I remember sitting in my office in my home and I was all over Google and the internet. And one of the things I couldn't find were videos of kids with Hunter syndrome. And, you're sitting there and you're told your child's going to disappear from you and then he's going to die. And you're looking at this child who's playing and having a great time. And you said, that just didn't make sense. And so what are these kids really like that have Hunter syndrome? And I couldn't find them. So part of my goal became to put videos on YouTube of my son. So someone else who was diagnosed would not be in that same position and go, what happens? Is my child still the same child? So this was one of the early videos that I took of my son and put on YouTube. And this was about 3 years ago. Let's see. I don't see it working. Oh, well.
Did you have it set on animation
I did. Well, okay. Well, we'll just roll with the punch. Oh. So that was in the hospital, obviously, in a hospital crib bed. And so adorable, cute, but what you don't realize is that this was at the beginning of his cognitive decline. After this video, he would proceed to lose 18 IQ points in 8 months. So that kind of motivates you in a lot of ways. So I'm going to show you kind of our social media story, just to maybe give a reference point for what could be yours. So we all have these pivotal events that happen. Obviously, our children are born. Diagnosis is a huge pivotal event. And like I said, we were on forums and Caring Bridge and things like that, but you get kind of busy. So then I started putting the videos on YouTube and had a Facebook page. So that's not that difficult. Well, in late 2010, 2011, my son entered a clinical trial, and it was a really important clinical trial, as a lot of these are coming about right now for the kids and for our community. And I really felt that it was important for me to share that experience with our community. So we all knew what was going on, and also to share some of the other information we'd come across in terms of advocating on IEPs and therapies and wheelchairs and diapers and things like that. So that all happened. I started a blog and a blog sharing some of our experiences and medical necessity letters for diapers and wheelchairs, and the things that we had learned, and sharing about the clinical trial. And then I also have a personal blog that just, we all go through these journeys as a caregiver with our emotional journey and our spiritual journey. And I just thought that was a separate enough thing. And I talk about this really to give you a basis to understand where I'm coming from, and the fact that, that may become your home base as well. So after I started writing on a blog, obviously we had these videos on YouTube, and then I happened to see an article in 2011 about, on the front page, I think, of USA Today, about how big Twitter was. I thought, well, gosh, Twitter's really big and we're not on Twitter. So I didn't know what I was doing, but decided that I needed to be on Twitter. And then Pinterest came along, so people kept asking, well, what do you use for this? What do you use for this? And, what products do you use? And so I get sick of telling things, so, you can pop them up on Pinterest, and then people don't need to, keep asking you. So it's a good source of information. So that's kind of our journey. So let's talk about your journey in social media and where that's going to go. And, okay, so I'm kind of interactive here, so let's do this. Stand up if you are on Facebook for your rare disease advocacy, not just your personal Facebook. Ah, fantastic. Okay, stay standing if you have or let's change it. If you have a blog, stand up for the rare disease. Okay, stand up if you are on Twitter. Ooh, where are you guys tweeting today? Rare 2013, hashtag Rare 2013. Okay, stand up if you're on Pinterest. Okay, stand up if you're on LinkedIn. Okay, stand up if you're on Reddit. Reddit. Okay, stand up if you are on all of those things I just mentioned. All of them, everyone. Okay, stand up if you're on everything but Reddit. Okay, so take note of all these people, because these people could be standing right up here just the same as me. So, those are people that can help you. So social media, everybody has, okay, here's the reason why I'm not on social media or using it in my rare disease advocacy efforts. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know about that Twitter thing. That just kind of freaks me out. But in our purpose, not if you're with the government or like Facebook or big companies, is Twitter very forgiving, or any of the social media. But for us, social media is very forgiving. If you make a mistake, if you don't know what you're doing, nobody's going to come back at you and sue you or write you up in an article. It's very forgiving of mistakes. So feel your way along. I sure did. I didn't know what I was doing on Twitter 2 years ago. So it's forgiving of mistakes. It's periodic. You don't have to be, as much as all these things say, people addicted to social media, you don't have to be on there all the time, especially when you're trying to use it in your rare disease advocacy efforts. So you can jump on here and come off and jump on later. It's a great waiting room activity. I will tell you, whenever we're sitting at the doctor's office or in the hospital, I can jump on Twitter, do something, and you can really rock along your advocacy efforts. You can also learn at your own pace. You can learn a little bit here. I learned to write a blog on WordPress and to program it from WordPress for Dummies. Seriously. I read it on the plane while my son was going to the clinical trial. So, and you can now get that on your phone and just be reading it on your phone. So you can just learn at your own pace. It's really easy. And I'm going to give you some resources at the end and have an exciting announcement too. So let's talk about this and get started. The great thing is you do not have to have a strategy, okay? You do not have to jump in with everything known to get into social media and to really get good at it. So that's the great thing. Now, I'll say yet, because once you're on it for a while, it is a good idea to really hone your efforts. And I think they were talking earlier about knowing what you want to do with your advocacy organization. And it's the same thing with social media. It needs to support you. And, did something happen to our... Like social media, I'm very forgiving. You didn't know you were going to be technical service, did you, Wendy? So you can jump in and learn it and play with it, and then eventually it's good to have a strategy at some point. But don't let that scare you at the beginning to start with playing with social media. So let's get started. I have kind of a three-pronged inquiry to help you just kind of jump in, either whether you're experienced in social media and you want to get better at one particular platform, or you're really new to most of it. So we're going to kind of jump through that and see where that goes. So first, since the P's are really big at this conference, you need to pick your platform. So there are tons of social media platforms. I just gave you the most obvious ones, but you can pick out, a lot of these here. Instagram, I didn't talk about. Google Plus, because, who's really on Google Plus? Sorry, Google. But, you can kind of pick out any of these. And so, there are also even newer social media platforms. So don't take too long to learn all these, because then they might be outdated, because they say teenagers are not even on Facebook anymore. So if you have a teenager, or, they're all on Snapchat, which I don't think any of us are on Snapchat. Who's on Snapchat? Wow. The real experts. See, there you go. So after you pick your platform, if you want to get better at one of these or get better at all of them, pick that. And then you pick your purpose on that platform. So this is kind of strategy, but you don't have to have it all honed down. So obviously first, you should learn about the platform a little bit and kind of learn what's going on that platform. So you can just kind of, if you're on Twitter, you can follow certain hashtags, and hashtag is that number symbol. So the hashtag for this conference is Rare 2013. So you can learn what's going on. What are people doing on there? What are people, what things, how are they connecting with other people? What are they making happen on that platform? And, at some point you start to do lots of other things. You start to connect with other people on a platform. You start to raise awareness, maybe. Maybe that's one of your strategic purposes. You may want to educate other people about your particular rare disease. And then, you can have calls to action. So if you want to fundraise using social media, which is done a lot, that's a great use for that. But so you think, and then you can start doing all of those things on any particular social medium. So pick your purpose. So you may have different purposes for different social mediums. So I use Twitter differently than what I use Facebook for. So you have to feel your way along and find out what's useful for each one. And then at some point, you pick your partners. So when I say partners, that can be what I call either willing partners, who are people you align yourself with, and you're, the Hunter syndrome community, which is what my son has. We're partners on social media. We retweet each other. We help each other find things. And then there's unwilling partners, people you follow on social media, and you kind of gain things from them and learn things. So it may be disease specific. You may broaden your partners to be more the entire rare disease community, like working with Global Genes and retweeting them and doing things like that. You may use it for the research option. Ethan, who was up here on the panel, is on Twitter, and so he does research, and so we connect on Twitter as well. So you can have lots of different partners on each different social media. So here's kind of an example of my progression in terms of partners. So obviously the Hunter syndrome community are my direct partners, and we work together. But then there's the rare disease community, who you can follow and learn more about that. And you can help them in terms of legislative efforts and things like that. Medical research, so learning more about the research side of things. The pharma industry, although there's not a lot of pharma on social media, there is a little bit here and there. So you can follow and connect with them. Then there's patient advocacy. So outside of the rare disease patient advocacy, there's other patient advocates that are very strong and we can learn a lot from and connect with. Then there's special education. As a lawyer, that's something close to my heart. So if you have kids with rare disease and they're in school, that's a really big issue in your day-to-day life. So that was for me. And then assistive technology. I'm just kind of a closet, tech person. So I like to see what can help our kids in terms of assistive technology. So that's kind of just my circle. Your circle may be totally different, or it may be, one particular area, and don't feel overwhelmed by that. But that's just an example. So, and speaking of social media being overwhelming, I think I wrote a post the other day called Why I Don't Unplug and Don't Feel Guilty About It. There's this whole social media addiction. Everybody should unplug. And, if you're not unplugged, I'm here to say don't feel guilty. And so that's just my mantra. So resources for how to get better at social media. So you can find them. The first thing is yourself. Just experiment with things, other advocates. So you saw the people that were standing up. If you saw people at your table that were standing up for certain mediums that you were interested in, or some of the real experts that stayed standing at the end, those are great resources for social media. Also, I'll talk more about this in a minute, but I'll just say right now the Mayo Clinic Social Media Health Network is a great resource for learning about social media. YouTube. You can go on YouTube just like on Google and, search for your question. How do I, create a username on Twitter? And there's probably a video about it. So that's really easy way to learn more. And another resource I send people to that's kind of basic is this GCF Learn Free has social media courses or short things on there that can help you find ways to better your social media skills. So speaking of resources, I am super excited that today I get to announce a great opportunity for patient advocates. As full disclosure, I am on the advisory board for the Mayo Clinic Center for Social Media, and I'll tell you how that came about because it might be pertinent to some of you, is that they have a contest every year where you can write an essay and try to get a scholarship to their social media residency at the Mayo Clinic. And I did that last year, and that social media journey was part of that essay. Got a scholarship, went and spoke at the social media residency, and then I ended up being on the advisory board. So it is a great organization, and many thanks to Lee Acey, who runs that out at the Mayo Clinic, for rushing this along just so I could announce this today. So they have a social media curriculum through the Mayo Clinic, and it is created by and full of lots of smart social media people with healthcare organizations, some social media consultants, just some really smart people. So this is just the current list of the social media curriculum, and you can see Twitter and Facebook and blogging and video and general social media, business related to social media. So Not all of the courses are completely filled in yet. In fact, my course isn't done, but I'm working on that. So this is just a fantastic source. And they now have, it used to be just healthcare organizations could join that, but now they have several different tracks, one of which is a patient advocate track. And you can have access to the entire curriculum, to the discussion boards, to the minds of all these fantastic social media people for $45. I mean, it's like the deal of the century. So I'm super excited that I got to announce that today. And this is the bit.ly link that you could go to learn more about that and to look at joining the Social Media Health Network through the Mayo Clinic. So to me, that is a fantastic resource to better your social media skills. So if you want to connect with me, here's my social media links, and you can grab a card from me if you want, and just find me, and I appreciate it. I think we might have a Q&A at the end if you have questions, but thank you so much.